Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. It's your host, David Schmidt, and I've got a real treat for you here today. Who says that you can't do real estate when you're young? Who says you can't do it when you're old? I got an outlier here in the house today. He's got an absolutely phenomenal story from College Station, Texas. I got David Schmiediche in the house, and we're going to be talking about how real estate can be for the young and hungry, as well as the seasoned and strategic. So we're going to go into his strategies, and we're going to go into how he went from buying 8 units at 19 years old and now has 14 total units on top of being a real estate agent there in the great state of Texas. Before we get into that, just remember at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses, which allows them to build the businesses they've always wanted in order to live the lives they've always dreamed of. With that being said, David, welcome to the show today, brother.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me, sir.
Man, I'm excited for this conversation. We actually, in our pre-show conversation, like, I know we're already going to be friends for a long time. Because we had on record, that is the longest pre-show conversation I've had with anybody so far. Usually it's 5 minutes long, but I looked at David.
Do you remember?
It was about 16 minutes, 15, 16 minutes, which usually, I mean, even a long one, like 10 minutes, man, like I'll roll with some people, but you and there's one other guy I interviewed a couple weeks ago that we went about close to the same time. I think yours holds the record, but it's always fun when that happens. I looked at him, I said, dude, if we don't hit record, we're going to be talking all night before we record a show and have nothing to talk about. So, David, tell us what got you into this business. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, what got you into real estate, and how you got to where you're at now, man, 24 years old and almost have as many units as you are old.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I learned a lot about investing in the stock market, kind of like 401ks, IRAs, and just stuff like that. And so that was just the world that I was in. And so my father had taught me a lot about that. And then as I was going through high school, I was still trying to learn as much as I could. And it just seems like the best option or the next step was to go from investing in the stock market to investing in real estate. And so this was, I think when I was 17 years old, I was trying to figure out a way to do this. And, after a bunch of research and everything, I figured out it's very hard to do that as a 17-year-old. And so I decided to go get my real estate license just to be in the industry and learn about real estate. That way, hopefully early on, I wanted to do it by the time I was 18 or, 19 or 20, get my first deal underneath my belt.
100%. And so when you were 19, you did get your first deal under your belt. Like with that deal, how did that come about? How did you find that property? And then what set the fire in you once you got that first one to keep growing from there?
Yeah. So the first deal, there was a mentor or coach is kind of the best way of putting it. He was a real estate agent who coached other agents, but he also invested himself. And so I kind of worked under him for a couple of months And he had a lot of success with direct mail marketing. So he was like, hey,
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
you should do direct mail marketing, get in contact with a lot of these multifamily owners, and then try to sell those to buyers that I already had lined up looking for deals. And so we did the direct mail marketing. And ironically enough, the very first person that reached out on that direct mail marketing, they were interested in selling their place, and got the contact information and started running numbers on it. And I was talking to my coach, and I was like, honestly, I don't want to sell this to anyone. Like, I want to buy this one myself. And it was 2 fourplexes right next to each other. So I think this was 19-year-old me at the time. I was like, I didn't have any money to do that at all. And so the way that ended up working is I started talking to some people, and I found a private investor who was willing to partner with me on the deal. And he was like, hey, I want to support you through this. I'll be the money essentially, and you'll be the boots on the ground. And so I was running the operation. And that was we had the mindset from the very beginning that, hey, this is going to be a short-term thing. He was saying, I want you to buy me out in a year or 2, at most like 3. And I was like, great, gets my foot in the door. I love it. And so we ended up buying that deal together. And then a year later, I ended up buying him out of that purchase. So when I was 20 years old.
100%, man. That's cool. So you owned 8. That was a property where you had 2 fourplexes. Did I hear that right?
Yes, sir.
So you went straight into multifamily, man. That's
Better for worse.
risky. I love that. So now,
It's kind of funny because I guess my lack of knowledge was probably like my best helper at that point, because I had no idea what I was getting into, right? It's like a lot of people, they want to buy a single family home and kind of learn the basics at first. I was, I guess, cocky may be the best word for it, but I was like, I'll figure it out. Like, give me everything. I'll learn as I go. And so for better or for worse, that's what ended up happening. And then I learned really quickly the right things to do and the wrong things to do.
sometimes the best time to do that is when you're young, man, before you start believing things that ain't true about the world, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, man, how many people, get stuck in a rut and then they end up at, 25, 26, and then they just won't take action because they just think everything's going to crash and burn because of their experience, right? So, I mean, in a way, like, dude, good on you. I don't want to say you got lucky, but you did it at the right time.
Yeah,
100%,
I mean,
man.
the luck in that was that I had no idea what I was doing. So
For sure. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm one of those people that believes in luck and blessings.
perfect.
I love it, man. So now you went from 8, now you've got 14 units. You've also been an agent. How much of your business is on the agency side, helping people buy, sell homes? Are you a residential retail agent, or like, what do you do on the investing side now? What's kind of that split for you in terms of your business?
Funny enough, when I filed my taxes for 2024, the income I got from my agent sales business and the income I got from my investment business, it was split directly down the middle, 50-50.
No kidding.
So yeah, it
To
was
the
kind of
penny.
funny how that worked out. I don't know if it
just
was to the
kidding.
pity, but
I'm just kidding.
it was within just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and which is funny because I got into real estate as an agent because I wanted to learn the business so I could invest. And so the idea has always been be an agent to learn the ropes, to start getting investment properties, be a full-time agent and part-time investor. And I want to flip those. So I want to be a full-time investor and a part-time agent. So we're, I guess, like halfway there if that's how that math ends up mapping out.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's because you
I
found out
started
you're like,
ranting.
oh, as an agent, I sell other people's real estate. As an investor, I'm actually in the real estate business.
Yep. So, but what
Love it,
was the
man.
initial question you asked on it? I can't
I have
remember.
no idea. I have no
Perfect.
clue. It had something to do with what's the split, like how much of your focus is on investing, how much of your focus is on being a realtor.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what
Yes.
do you
Yes.
do on the realtor side? I think that was the other. It was kind of a two-pronged question there.
No worries. So it's honestly split about 50-50 right now. For the real estate side, about 90% of our business is with investors. I specialize in multifamily, but we work with investors in all sorts of things. We do commercial properties, multifamily, leases, commercial leases, but primarily investors. We do home sales as well. It's just not as frequent. As like me and you were conversating back and forth, I just love talking to investors, and so naturally, that's just kind of the clientele that I've collected.
100%, man. What's your long-term strategy? I mean, if you want to be an investor, full-time, only time, what does that look like for you? Are you going to buy and hold everything you do? Are you going to fix and flip? What's that long-term vision for David Schmiediche?
Yeah. The plan from the very beginning has always been to buy and hold. And that's just because all the big, like super successful investors I've talked to, they've always said just buy and hold. So that's just kind of what I've taken on and started from the very beginning. As for like fix and flips, I don't know if it's I just don't know how to run numbers on fix and flips. I'm not in the right market
Mm,
for it. We've just never found good flipping opportunities.
mm.
There is one property that we ended up purchasing. We actually purchased it in April, and we're renovating it right now. That would have been a good flip, but it's a duplex. It's what I like buying and holding. It matches the criteria of my buy box, and so I'm like, why would I sell it? So we're just gonna hold on to everything we have right now.
For sure. Now, so about how many properties do you typically buy a year at this point? I mean, you went from like 8 as like your cherry pop, right? And then you're like, okay, I got 8, and now you've basically doubled that, but it's taken 5 years to do so. So like, are you buying a property a year, or like, what does that strategy look like now?
Yeah. Um, So it's funny that you asked that because I bought the 8 units at the very beginning. So like that was year one, I guess. And then I bought three duplexes, which is how I get to 14 doors. I bought those in the past 9 months. And so it's like I didn't buy anything for 4 years, I guess, three
No
or 4 years.
kidding.
And then I was like, I'm getting back in the game, buy everything I can, more or less. Um,
No
so
kidding. What was it about it in the 4 years that kept you scared?
I
I'm just joshing with you, but
no,
what is it
no, you're
about that?
100% right though. It's because I think I was scared, and that was probably my
Really?
biggest mistake investing.
Mm,
One of the big mistakes I've made investing is I didn't buy more because I bought the first property right at the beginning of COVID. And so a year of COVID happened and then prices skyrocketed up. And I was like, the numbers don't make sense. Nothing's cash flowing right now. I'm gonna wait for prices to come down. Wait 2, 3, 4 years, prices never came down, at least not in our market. Um, and so I
I
think
don't think they've
after
come down anywhere, brother. To be honest with you, not at least not drastically.
yeah. So, anyways, now it's year four, and I'm like, I've missed out on 4 years of growth in our market. And if I had just bought
Mm,
properties, they would be cash flowing right now. Like it wouldn't have been something that I should have been worried about as much as I would worried about it. And so I guess maybe I'm now like, since I didn't buy anything for 4 years, I'm like, I have to play catch up now, and so I'm buying everything I can.
mm.
But it's
That's
actually kind of funny.
interesting.
The three duplexes, two of them just kind of like fell in our lap. It wasn't even something we were looking for. And so like blessing and luck, I mean, whichever one you want to call it, we've been blessed with the last two that we bought. So
Mm. Let me ask you this, because that is a long gap, and obviously we went through a very interesting season right after you purchased your 8 doors. Was there a specific experience in that first deal, maybe something that went haywire that also kept you from thinking the numbers didn't make sense? Was there a little bit of emotion involved there, or was it just a strict, like looking at numbers it doesn't make sense. What kind of was there anything that maybe also affected that decision other than just that?
So the first deal it wasn't like a steal of a deal. It was a pretty good deal, especially for a first deal.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And we got blessed or lucky, whichever one you want to call it, that not a lot
Lucky and
went wrong
blessed.
on it. Lucky and blessed, that not a lot went wrong on it. Like there was definitely a learning curve on it. But I mean, most of the tenants paid. Our numbers ended up almost to the T being exactly what we anticipated on it. Um, Part of the reason that I probably didn't purchase some, which I didn't talk about earlier, is our uh, plan, I guess our business model is a better way of putting it, is we buy properties that need renovations, and then we go in there and we renovate the units, and then we charge higher rents on it. Kind of a
Hmm.
burr method. We just don't refinance at the end of it, or we haven't as of yet. So when I bought those 8 units, I mean, it takes $15,000 to renovate one of these units, $20,000 depending on what type of contractor you use on that. 20,000
Sure.
times 8, that's a lot of money. And so most of the other money we had for down payments and everything was going to renovating the building. Um, so that was kind of where we were investing at the time instead of buying more real estate, was just renovating our current ones.
Okay. So there was a little bit of a process there where you were still having to spend some extra dollars, maybe some of that cash flow to actually get it to where you wanted it to be in order to where once it was done, then you're, good to go for the foreseeable future at least.
Yep. And so that's like the big question is, would it have been better to spend the money on the renovations and get the return there, or to just spend what's 20 times 8, $1,660,000 and just buy another property or two with that? And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know
Yeah.
what the right decision would have been on it. So
I think the right decision is the one you made because otherwise you don't know what else could have happened. You know what I'm saying?
that's
Didn't seem like
100%
it was
true.
a
So
didn't seem like it worked out not in your favor so far, right?
like I said, the Lord is blessed as a multitude. So it's been really good so far.
You bet, man. I love that. So let me ask you this. People have a tendency when they get into real estate to get into real estate, and their version of getting into real estate is I'm going to learn everything I possibly can before I take any action. Right.
Mhm.
And so you got people in real estate that have been in it for 5 years, going to all the events and everything else, and reading all
Yep.
the books and listening to all the tapes, and they ain't ever done a deal. So, like, obviously, you know that taking action is so important. But for somebody that's like scared to get started, what advice would you give to them other than just do it?
Man, just do it. Yeah, that's like I was trying to think, what's a different way of giving
A
advice besides
practical,
just
some
do it?
practical advice.
Yeah, analysis by paralysis is definitely a thing. And it honestly probably plays out more in my life than you would anticipate. I think
Hmm.
again, I got blessed at 19 buying the first deal because I didn't realize what I was getting into. Now looking at deals, I think analysis by paralysis actually slows me down more than it should. Um, but the one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, which is kind of tied to what you're just talking about, is they want their first deal to be perfect. And they're like, the first deal has to be like 5 stars, best deal ever. And so they keep waiting for that perfect deal to come. In actuality, most investors, not all investors, but most investors we see, their first deal is kind of average. Like it's a good deal. It was found on market, which is nothing wrong with on market deals. The returns are just kind of average. But they start learning through that first deal. They start learning the right things to do. They start getting more connections with wholesalers or a real estate agent like us who can bring them off market deals, how to finance the deals. They start making all those connections and figure out the ways to do it better for the next deal. Um, So that that answer is just kind of go and do it. Like don't anticipate your first property to be the best deal. If you find something that's good, even like better than good, jump on it. You'll learn in the process,
Mm. And I
which
think
is just a
having
long
a
way of saying just do it.
you bet. Well, it's practical though. I think having a mentor is, I think, one of the things that you fleshed out in there of having partner, finding relationships, right? Those are so important when you're getting started because you can go at it alone. It's kind of like that old African proverb says, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go
Uh-huh.
far, go together, right?
Yep.
And ultimately, having somebody that's more seasoned than you, this is one of the things that I've consistently heard from people that are all the way to, huge portfolios, right? And what they always say is they're always like, look, give a little bit of the meat away that's on the bone in the beginning to get the experience. If you've got to be the errand boy, if you've got to this, if you've got to that, if you got to take less on a deal to get somebody else that has the experience and you watch what they do so that way you know what mistakes to avoid, it's worth you making 5 or 10 grand less on a deal than if you
100%.
were to make that and then lose it all anyways.
100%. I mean, you were just talking about that person that they've been in the business for 5 years, but they haven't actually bought their first deal yet. They're just going to all the seminars. If you
Right.
just look at the appreciation they're missing out on from those five
Right.
years, if they had bought their first deal, even if it wasn't a super great deal, it was just like an average deal. It's like you would have
Yeah.
made way more than 10 grand in five
Because
years.
Because you've got that, and then you've got the literal opposite flip side of that coin, like my friend Casey, who he got started 6 years ago, and he's got a $120 million portfolio now, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the only difference is he took action. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Looked at his numbers a little harder. So it's like, I'm telling you what, man, that paralysis of analysis killed more dreams, I think, than laziness, in my opinion.
Yeah. I could actually get behind that statement. I've never heard that before, but I can agree with
That's a
that.
good short. I just came up with it. I hope my team turns that into a short clip I can use. They probably won't, but that's okay. Uh, so let me ask you this, man. What does the long term vision look like for you? Like when will you feel like you've just like made it?
Mhm. That's a great question. So I talk about having mentors and coaches. I recently interviewed a guy here in my local market that has almost 1,000 doors or right around 1,000 doors. And I kind of asked him the question. I was like, why are you still doing this? Like, why are you still investing? You have 1,000 doors. We met up at his place and he was showing me like all these, he had like 6 sport cars there and all these things. And I was like, you've made it, dude. Like you don't need
Nice.
another deal. And he was just like, I really love the game, like the investing game.
Mm.
And so to him, it was like that was his enjoyment. He got fulfillment through doing that. But it really like it starts making me think like when is the end going to be the end? Because I had a goal back in high school when I was like 18 or 19, first starting out. I was like, when I get here, I would have made it. And I'm very close to getting there right now. And I'm like, that's not enough for me to support my family. I need the goal to be further out. But then the question is, once I make that goal, is that goal going to be enough for me? Or is it something that I'm like, it's going to keep getting pushed back? And so that's a great question. Um, the short answer is I initially got into real estate because I wanted to find a way to provide for my family and protect my family financially. And
Mm.
whenever I have enough passive income coming in to properly do that, and I know what the number is in my head, um, as of right now, that is what I'm saying the goal is.
What's the
But we will.
number? What's the number? You don't have to share it if it's personal. You can tell me after the show if you don't feel comfortable saying it online.
I can do it. It is. I mean, I almost like don't want to do it. That's right. $200,000 coming in a year. I think
A
that would be
year?
enough to a year to support
Passively?
my family. Mhm.
Okay. All right. I can get behind
Are
that.
you, so are you thinking that number is low or high?
I thought that was way lower than what I was expecting. When you said a year,
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I was hoping you were going to say a month, but that's okay. We
two
can work
hundred
on that
thousand a month.
mindset stuff later. Uh,
See, that's what
in
I'm
no
like. I'm like,
position.
by the time I actually get to 200,000 a year, it's like my mindset may be I need to have $200,000 a month. But for
Yeah.
me, the way I'm
Wow.
looking at it right now, being able to support my family, 200,000 would be more than enough for them to not have to work if
100%.
they didn't have to
And,
work. So
and here's the thing, man, 200 grand. I mean, if you're just talking you and your wife, I mean, if you're talking like retiring your mom, buying your dad, all that kind of stuff, okay, you need to make more money, right? But,
that's the
if you're
thing.
talking
Yeah.
like, dude, you and your wife, bro, like the average person doesn't make that. But here's the other thing that I've also learned. If you look at the statistics over the last 30 years, right? The average salary has only gone up, and don't on the internet, don't attack me for this, okay? I'm not teaching anybody anything here. Maybe my math's wrong. I don't care. This is just what I heard. It's what I verified. My sources might have been wrong. 27% increase in salaries, 140% increase in the cost of a home in the last 30 years, right? So when you look at that, and you're on that, we're in the same generation. What's cool about this is I don't usually interview anybody under 30, so this is awesome. Because we're in the same boat, man. Like, it's you and me versus a 78-year-old retirement, which is what it'll be by the time we get there. For the average person that goes to college, has the whole plan, right?
Yep.
So when you look at that, when we were kids, man, I don't know if it was like this for you, but for me, my dad wasn't like rich, did well, like well-to-do middle class, like professional, working in the marketplace. My mom stayed home. It was amazing, right? But like making 100 grand a year, that was like the benchmark. So then when I turned 18, I'm like, man, all I got to do is make 100 grand a year and I'll have made it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And now I look at the math and I'm like, oh, I got to make like $250,000 a year just to provide the same lifestyle that my dad provided our family when we were kids. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And at 28, I've got the same amount of kids that my dad had at 40. So it's like, it's pretty amazing how that works. Anyways, I want to get back to it because I'm taking too much of your spotlight here. But
no, you're good. This is great. I'm loving listening to you. I should be interviewing you.
No, not at all, dude. When you start your podcast, I'll come on for free though. 50 cents.
Okay.
50 cents booking. No, really. Tell me this, man. So you've got that income goal. Where did we start before we got off on that? I'm sorry. I just like interrupted you and went on a tangent.
Man, I don't know. That was 5 minutes ago. I don't remember that.
Wow. It's like 90 seconds. So you've got, you want to get to 200 grand a year in passive income. That's for you and your wife. So is that like when you get there, will you have made it at that point? Like, would you, in this state that you're in now, do you think that you'll feel like you've made it at that point?
Like, as of right now, yes, but also when I was 18.
So how does life change for you?
What? I'm sorry, what was the question?
How does life change for you? It's the follow-up. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's a follow-up. How does life change for you when you have that at that point? How does life change?
Yeah. It's the not having to work. The financial security for me and my wife that we won't have to work if we don't want to for whatever reason. So I don't want my wife to have to wake up on a Monday morning just coming back from something. It's like we need to provide food for our kids or whatever it is. So that's how it would change it. It's just the mentality of not having to work.
Love that.
The financial freedom that it buys.
I get it, dude. Because ultimately, that's what we become entrepreneurs for in the first place, right? So we can have freedom. You know? It's like I told my wife, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna ever get into a situation unless it's just like a season, you know? Like I never want to wake up and watch you get pretty to go work for another dude to come home and give me sweatpants and baggy t-shirts at night. Like, like does there something seem a little off to you about that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
she
fully
loves
understand.
It too. But man, so you're also, I mean, obviously you're a believer. I mean, we've had that conversation sort of. I mean, I can just tell by talking to you. So what is the impact? I think a big thing that kind of separates folks that have kind of a little bit of a religious background, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it that for, time's sake for people. That way we can argue on the internet later. A lot of people that are in that phase though, or in that group or that culture, whatever you want to call it, like the impact is a real big thing for us, right? So like, what is the impact play for you that goes beyond just you and your wife?
That is what has been my prayer for the past couple of, I don't know how long, but it's been my prayer for a long time that the Lord would open the show exactly how that impact is supposed to play out. So like I have ideas in my head on like just being able to give money and support like different things, like whatever it is I feel like the Lord is wanting us to help in those situations. But I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. And so that's something I've been praying a lot for recently is just show me exactly how you want me to grow your kingdom with the blessings that you provided us. And the future blessings that I'm hoping he will provide for us down the road.
So let me ask you this. You got 200 grand a year coming in. Boom. It's tomorrow. What are you doing with your time then?
As of right now, it'd be if we have kids, or if it's tomorrow, we don't have kids yet. But if we had kids, it
Right.
would be spending most of the time for my kids and my wife's. So she's told me she wants to travel the world, and so
Man, you're in trouble. I love how you said that. The way he said that, folks, is just like any man about to get married. She's told me she wants to travel the world. and you
Oh
you
man,
have thoughts about that. I love it.
no,
That's
I
amazing.
I love it. I want to travel too. My father actually came from Germany,
No
and
kidding.
so yeah, him and my grandfather have traveled the world more or less, and so it's
Yeah.
like I would love to travel it as well.
So are you
Right
second
now,
generation German?
um, second generation American German, yeah.
No
So
kidding.
I guess I'm technically first generation because he came here from Germany when he was 18 to go to Texas A&M, and then I was the
Wow.
first one in my family that was born in America. Well, me and my
That's
sister.
awesome. That's super
Yeah,
cool. Continue with what you were saying prior to that.
I don't remember what I was saying prior to that. Travel the world.
We're bad at that. I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
traveling
we
the
really are
world.
bad at that.
Your
I would love to
father has
travel the
been
world.
all
I
over
just
the
don't have
world.
the time yet.
Hmm. So is that what you would be doing right now? Is if you had all that passive income, you'd be traveling all over right now? Is that what you guys would
I
be
would
doing?
definitely be traveling a lot more than I currently am. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So part of me is like, I know just doing the traveling for me nonstop. Like if I was just 365 days out of the year, I was traveling it. Like I would not be able to take it, but I would definitely be traveling a lot more than I currently am.
Hmm. Well, David, we've reached that point where if I don't stop us, we're going to continue talking for another 3 hours. So let me ask you one last kind of deep question, and then I'll let
Okay.
you allow people to connect with you and however that makes the most sense. So if you had to go back to the beginning and you were able, not start over now, but you were able to go back to the beginning with all the knowledge, all the wins, all the lessons, all the failures, et cetera, that you've gained over the last few years, what would you do different and what would you do the same?
Um, the thing that I would do the same is I would take action on it, like we were talking
Mm,
about. Don't do the analysis by paralysis. There is wisdom in being smart and making decisions, but there comes a point where you've learned as much book knowledge as you can. You need to take action in order to go further. So what I would do differently, it would probably be not to chase the shiny objects, I guess is the best way of putting it. I found my niche. My niche is small multifamily, 1970, 1980 builds, buy the property, renovate the inside, get tenants in there paying a higher rent. That's my bread and butter. I love that. I did Airbnb for a little bit. It didn't work out. It was honestly for me, it was a waste of money. I know you can make a ton of money in Airbnb. It just wasn't for me. And I did it because everyone else was telling me about the successes they were having with Airbnb, and I was like, oh, I need to jump on this train. It's the next new thing. I should have just stuck to small multifamily.
mm, great advice. Well, thanks for coming on the show today, brother. I've had a really good time
Absolutely. Thank
with
you for
our
having
interview
me.
here. You're most welcome, my friend. We'll maybe have to have you on for a part 2 here at some point. But if anyone
Sounds
wants to
good to me.
learn more about you, David, or what you're working on, where should they go for that?
I think I provided my phone number and my email, so you can always reach me at those. We also have an Instagram. We're starting to do social media marketing now, and so David underscore invests is our Instagram.
Say that again.
David
David,
underscore invests
invest? You saying that?
with an S, plural. Yes.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, you heard it here first, folks. That's how you can connect with him for more. We're not going to give your phone number out, or else you have 7 million people calling you because this is going to be the greatest show on the
Perfect.
internet
No
here at
worries.
some point. Um, But go connect with them on Instagram, follow along for more. And everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. David, thanks again for being here.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.